Hi everyone, thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, I really appreciate it, thank you. So in this video, I'm looking at the chart of FCC Chair Brendan Carr, and later in the video you'll see an analysis that I carried out in my most recent astrology class for RFK Jr. I hope you like that analysis. In the meantime, I'll address the Brendan Carr chart. And you can see that he is another person you throw in there with the group that is experiencing significant pressures in 2026. And the reason is his chart. His chart shows the Sun and Mars conjunct in Capricorn, square Pluto, square Eris, and the Moon. The Moon is somewhat uncertain because it's between 11 and 24 degrees of Aries. The closer he is born to midnight on that day, the earlier it is, and if it happens to be later and later, then it'll affect him into 2027. If it's earlier, the energy is most concentrated on 26. You can also add to this that the black moon just happens to be in Cancer, 14 degrees, making a grand cross with these planets. So Saturn transiting through Aries is going to set the whole thing off, and this promises a very difficult 2026. And first order of business would be to say this is good from the vantage point of Democrats doing well in the 26th election, at least in an indirect way. The more charts that I find showing these patterns, people in his administration not doing well in a certain period of time, the better the odds are that an outcome will turn out in a certain way, in this case, more negative. And when it comes to Carr, as we all know, he got embroiled in the free speech incident involving Jimmy Kimmel, and that didn't turn out well for the administration, but they're still trying as hard as they can to cause as much trouble as possible. The problem this guy has is that in addition to next year being problematic, part of the reason he already experienced problems in 2025 is the Mercury position, which of course Mercury's key connection is to speech. It's a speech planet. If you see issues around speech, controversies, negative feedback, that's the planet. Saturn already crossed through there earlier this year in the spring, late spring. So that's the square to the Mercury from Pisces. And the problem he has is that Saturn is going back there again because Saturn will station in November in the 25-degree range. Jupiter in Cancer at 25 degrees is no help at all because it's, if anything, it's in square energy to all its cardinal planets. It's not helpful. And to the Mercury, it's in a 150 quincunx aspect. Again, not helpful. So November, December, possibly even January, not great. Maybe more controversies, more problems, more issues will surface. And the other very interesting planet here is the Venus at 28 Scorpio, because this planet is involved in that Uranus threat that is in place from late in the year, let's say November, December, into the turn of the year in February, where there's a peak through a station in the 27 plus degrees of Taurus. That's a direct opposition to the Venus. This may be another person we've got here among the group reflecting challenges around that time and the possibility of a major cataclysmic event that could take place to shake everything up. My sense is from the confluence of all the energies, it's not going to play well for them. And so this guy's chart, without a doubt, is reflective of not only the problems that he's currently experiencing, but also, more importantly, the difficulties in 2026, because this is what I'm trying to demonstrate. in my thesis here that quite a few of these people in the Trump cabinet are essentially traversing the same difficult Saturn energy, which foretells bad outcomes, which for us is good news. It's what we want to see in 2026 in the election season. He's irritating everyone right now through his catastrophic way of running the I think it's called HHS. He's essentially in charge of the health of the country, and in most experts' opinion, he's doing a terrible job. And I had mentioned that he was stressed due to a Sesky aspect from Saturn transiting through this part of the chart and here in the summer. But that's nothing like what's going to come in next year because of this moon. This moon in the 12th, which on the one hand would be institutional health, which is what he's in charge of, and being at 13 degrees Cancer puts it in the same degrees as the American sun. So there's your link. But what he's facing is in 2026 the Saturn energy. So the Saturn going up in this region here, squaring the moon, and in a station. I mean, this period here is really complicated. Maybe he loses his job. Maybe it's just that something happens that becomes really problematic for him, and he has to explain it. Maybe he can't. Yeah, not good at all. Once again, it just keeps showing up. It's remarkable. See the black moon at 13 on the other side of the Saturn. So it's square the moon opposite the black moon. That complicates it. This is dicey stuff. And the thesis I'm building here is that I see multiple people in his cabinet, his meaning the Orange Man, who of course has his own issues in his own chart. He's part of it, but this guy is pretty critical, and he's definitely activated. And so one thing that I didn't mention that could potentially happen is maybe you might get a health problem here. People need to be really careful. That's the advice, because if something is bad, it's because it affects a lot of people and there's no explanation for it, or it's a weak explanation, etc. So this period here for absolutely everyone is going to be super important.